Hi. Well, now I'm going to try to help you or to walk you through the mediation uh, tasks. There are several that I have posted on the web, and I would like to explain why I posted them all on the web. So allow me to share my screen again. Okay, you will see that there are three tasks or three posts, all of them related to mediation. This first post here is a kind of introduction to what mediation or how mediation works. So usually in a task of, of mediation task, you have a scenario, you have the task itself, the scenario is where they explain to you the situation. You need a situation in which somebody has a very specific problems, and this person has very specific requirements. Uh, so the task might be either a written task or an oral task. So it means that you will have to adapt that task to the means and the format that it requires. We will come back to that later. That's why I usually tell my students, okay, there is a word that you have to learn before doing a mediation task, which is SAR, selecting, adapting, rephrasing. Selecting means that they usually give you an infographic, which is let's say, the source from which you are going to grab the information which this person needs. But this infographic has got, let's say, has got very comprehensive information. Some of it will be relevant and some of it will be irrelevant. So, irrelevant to the necessities of the person you have to mediate to. I mean, you have to mediate between the infographic and this person. So this person might have requirements, and the infographic gives you information which is not relevant to those requirements. So in the first place, you have to select which information from the infographic or from the information source is relevant to the situation in which your partner in the conversation is. Then adapting. What does that mean? You have to adapt it to the means. I mean, if it's an audio message on the telephone, it's not the same as if it is an email in your computer. So you have to adapt to the means and to the format of what you have to write. An email is not the same as an article or not the same as a report. But also, if it is a spoken task, you have to adapt to the audience you have to speak to. This is very important when we talk about the context. One of the things, if you take a look at the grids in the book grids, one of the things that or the parameters that you will be assessed at is context, and the context is simply that. So you have to adapt to that context. So if you are chatting with a friend, hey Jack, how are things going? Are you getting well? I am glad to hear from you again. This colloquial way, or if you are giving a talk to parents at the school, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this meeting. And I would like to start by, so you have to adapt to the, let's say, to the scenario and to the task and to the context, the situational context that where you are supposed to do the task. And the rephrasing means that you have to explain that information without reading from the infographic. So you have to express the same thing in your own words, but in a different way, keeping or sticking to level C1. It's not a matter of oversimplifying it or simplifying it. It's a matter of keeping the level, but showing linguistic flexibility, which means that you can express the same idea in different ways. For example, this is the infographic. I give you an infographic with some information. Um, Here, okay, we have a task. In the first task, I take some of the statements and I tell you, would you or wouldn't you select it considering the scenario that I gave you? So you decide whether you select it or not. In the next task, this is the key. Okay, in the next task, I give you different situations. Okay, your friend wants to start running, but he gets bored very quickly. And my information says run with music or podcast to stay motivated. How can you rephrase that to tell your student, your student, sorry, your friend, uh, for example, in an audio message, hey, Jack, blah, blah, blah. How do you rephrase that? Saying the same thing, but in a different way. And this is the key. Okay, then the next task that I said is the rewrite that I gave you the other day. Why rewrite? Because this is practicing for the rephrasing part of our SAR, the last part, the R, rephrasing. So I give you a sentence. He said that he was not the one who caused the financial losses, and I ask you to rephrase it with denied, one, or and with for another. How can you say the same thing using denied? Or how do you say the same thing using for? Rephrasings are very important because they affect the paradigmatic and the syntagmatic relationship of the linguistic elements. I mean, what is paradigm? Paradigm is a number of tools that I can use to express an idea. Some of those tools might be, we might combine them or not. Some of them, they are incompatible. I mean, they cannot appear. They are not, let's say, good bed partners. But if you replace one with another, it does not mean that you have to keep the rest of the sentence in the same way. It might provoke a change in the sentence. So obviously, if you use deny, you cannot start your sentence with he said. Obviously, there is some kind of change that you will have to apply to the sentence. That's why the stupid sentence we did the other day, which was he usually takes the bus, but today he's driving to work. And I said, okay, introduce train. Okay, you replace bus with train. He usually takes the train, but today he's driving to work. Okay, introduce blue. Okay, train and blue are compatible. He usually takes the blue train, but today he's driving to work. Okay, and then I said introduce 10:30. Okay, if you introduce 10:30, you can say he usually takes the train at 10:30, which is not bad. But as I said, English is compressive, not expansive. So if you compress it, so much the better. Way with noun phrases, they love noun phrases. So the 10:30 train. The problem is that when you set a specific time, that forces you to change the verb because it's not appropriate to say, I take the 10:30 train. Then you have to change the verb into catch the 10:30 train because you might be late for the 10:30 train. Taking a means of transport is choosing it to the detriment of the others, whereas catching a specific vehicle means being in time for that vehicle. And if you're not in time, you miss it because you were late. So in the same way, there might be some changes that you might have to apply to the sentence in order to use the words I give you appropriately. And then I give you another mediation task. Here you have a mediation task that you can do. You are very welcome to do. But here I give you another mediation task. In this mediation task is based on the video that we watched in class. In class the other day. Here you have a link to the video. It does not appear here. Probably if I here the video. Okay. So I have included a link to the video there. But anyway, on the page, if my memory serves me well, I didn't. Well, I will. I will. I will include or maybe it's below. Maybe it's below, but this it's being screened out of sight by this, out of my sight by this. But probably it's below. I will check it out and I will give you another a link to the video which we watched the other day in class, which is where Brian Tracy explains what 7 qualities great leaders should have in order to to lead, to be good leaders. So in this task, you have to write an article for a magazine, which means that it implies a specific style and specific format, but you have to explain the same thing that Brian Tracy did in your way using different wording. This is the task. How can you submit it? You can submit it. I suggest to my corporative email address, which is this one here, or else you can bring it to the on-site session next Tuesday, and I will be very glad to accept it. So simply to get it. So I hope that I helped you a little to understand this task, and good luck with it.